Okay, today I am replacing an alternator on a 1999 Lexus 300 ES. And you can see the engine there. And there's the new alternator. There's where it goes. It looks a little daunting when you're starting it, starting the procedure. Um, if you think of how much it's going to cost to do it, so far it's not been that bad. I got it out in, say, 40 minutes, maybe 30. But now the alternator functions to put power back to your battery. And your battery is what makes the motor start, turn over, crank. And then the alternator keeps putting power to it as you're running your air conditioner, your lights, whatever like that. It keeps it, it's like a generator for your battery to keep things going. So there that is. The one thing that I did do, beyond taking it out without showing you, because I was afraid it's going to be a complete mistake, was I do have a battery charger that can check the alternator, and it's not a very expensive one. I've got it here. I'll show you how it works. I think it's Schumacher, and you can see it'll show your voltage, for battery percent, voltage, and then alternator. There's your button to change it. Battery type is 12 volt regular. That's usually what you'll use. That's a deep cycle 12 volt for more like a marine battery for a trolling motor or something like that. 12 volt gel, I don't even know what that is. And then you have small battery, regular, and then engine start. Regular is what I always use unless I'm starting the engine. That puts more in somewhere around 50 amps in to help get the thing started if you're trying to do it. I'm going to show you how this works right quick. So I've started the motor on this. The engine's running. I've turned that on. You can see it's zero. It's not connected. Red on the red, red on positive, and your black to your negative side. And immediately you see it's coming up. It's charging 14.3. That's telling me more than likely that my alternator way down in there is working. I'm looking at voltage. I can look at battery percent, 100%, so that's good. But also I look at that alternator percent at 100. I ran to go. This one, it was running 0%. So that's what I decided, that it's my alternator, and took it out. The only thing I worry about is whether it's that your positive side goes down into some kind of a junction box down there, and it could be bad. But I'm expecting it is this alternator. Like I said earlier, if I'd hooked my charger and checker onto my battery, and it was showing that my alternator was not putting out anything. And also, they say on this, if there's a diode bad in the alternator, that it will drain your battery, and that's what I was finding as it was going bad, I suppose. We're going to both learn on this. But like I say, it's a little daunting when you're looking at it from scratch. Right now it's kind of opened up and out of the way, so it's not so bad. The first thing I did, I pulled the positive off of the battery and stuck it back behind something. They say to pull both off, and you can see I did a little redneck engineering there and put a little screw in because this was loose and I thought it might be the problem, but not. And from there, you don't need to, I didn't have my tools. My other truck has all my tools, but I did have a little bitty metric-ish set and a few odds and ends and wrenches. But primarily I use the metric sockets. And in fact, you just have 3 things that come out of it right here, these bolts. And it's a clip and another little electrical connection. But I started by first, I pulled my radiator hose off because it's right in the way from right here across. That's it right there. I've got it folded back. It's a little weak, a little thin, so I probably need to replace that as well. And then, let's see, this relay box. You can see if I move that out of the way, there's 2 bolts here. I pulled that off to where I can move this thing around. And then this thing is a clip that actually fits onto the alternator and holds this wire. In fact, a few wires. And all that crap's in the way. So it's worth the time, and it's very simple. Just pull that stuff off. That way you can move it around, get in there and get what you need, because you're reaching way down in here at different times. And I've got big old fat hands, so it's fairly difficult for me. And of course your belt runs through there, the serpentine belt, and so you have to loosen it off to get the belt off to be able to take this off. And you have to wiggle it back out. This bolt goes right through here, like that, right into this thing, but from this side. So make sure you don't confuse that for a nut you need to take off, like I nearly did. There's no way to hardly get to it anyway. You're just going to have to wiggle this thing up and down and slide it off. Putting a little bit of WD-40 or Mystic, whatever you want to use, helps allow it to come out. Then let's see, this one will go right into this side, through there, and this is your little block that goes back in behind, right in here. And this thing is what actually screws down to tension it out, because you have to keep your belt tight. That's the gist of it. I will stop here and replace it. Hopefully I covered everything, but like I say, the main thing is get the stuff out of the way. You've got 3 bolts that have to come off. Take that clip off, and it's not hard. If you're me, I used like I say, my metric kit. I think it was a 10, 12, and a 14, something like that. I used a flathead screwdriver to be able to get the clip off, and a little bitty metric to be able to get that off for the rest of this electric. You can see it right there. And like I say, it took me 40 minutes. I didn't have a clue what I was doing. This engine sets in a little different than a lot, because it's sideways. A lot of engines set in this way, and your alternator will be on the front. This one, since it sits in sideways, is going to be on the side. And like I say, from what I was understanding, $300 or $400 to change it. I thought I'd give it a shot. I'll give you an update. Also, before I go further, like I say, I've removed the radiator hose and have it folded back up, held down with that, which is pretty cheesy. And all I needed was a pair of channel locks to be able to get that off for the clamp. Some hose clamps, are the best ones, are actually the screw-on type, so you might have to have that. But so far, I've just used that, those, and I believe that's all I've used. That's metric. All of everything that I was dealing with here was metric, except for, of course, this. That's metric and SAE. And just 3 different pieces that came off as far as bolts. Then this thing that holds your wiring, and this thing that bolts actually screws down and hold your charging into it. So not very complicated when you get into it. And remember that shot, and then you'll see the shot when I get it back in. Now I've slid this back in. This is the alternator. I'm going to put this bolt right through here, and just bring it in to hold the thing in place while I finish the rest of it.